Hello. Sorry for being a couple of minutes late. If you are hopping on, can you say hi? Can you let me know if you can hear me? Let me get the comments up. Say hi to us. Oh, ready to go. Okay, amazing. Okay, I see the comments. Hey, David. Hey, Laquita. Oh, so good to see you guys on here. Keep saying hi. I love seeing you on here. Okay, so we are going to, so my co-founder Bona and I are going to be going through Capsho. So let's say hi to Bona. Are you here, Bona? Oh, I have to get her on. There you go.
I'm trying to be here. I'm here.
Awesome. All right. Hey, Carmen. Good to see you. Hey, C. Ray. Okay, cool. All right. This is going to be super cool. Okay. We are going to pretty much jump straight into Capsho, what it does. I know that people have been, doing some amazing things and getting some amazing results already, which is so cool. And actually, to that point, should we start with some spotlights? Bona, what do you reckon? Because each day we want to do what we call a content doodle-do spotlight in this challenge, this 21-day content habit challenge that both Capsho and Ecamm are co-hosting. And so let's start there, shall we? We'll start with a couple of spotlights. So the first spotlight is Katie. Katie is, this is what Content Doodle-Do had to say actually this morning. She is cooking up some content perfection, chef's kiss on day one. And I think this is because she is doing the thing. She posted her awareness post and has already been getting some amazing results. So well done, Katie. Keep that up. Spotlight number 2 we have is Ramona, because Ramona is setting the community on fire with her enthusiasm on day one. So again, keep that up. We want to be spotlighting all of you essentially. So, be active in the group, keep doing the thing, because that's what this challenge is all about. In fact, if you are following along, then you know that to earn week 1 badge, all you have to do is publish a piece of content every day. And we told you what, and it's so easy. Oh my gosh, Capsho makes it so easy for you, which we'll show you how easy to actually just go and publish. So I know a ton of you did your homework yesterday. You did your video recording or your podcast show using Ecamm, or if you don't have a Mac, then another recording platform. But I feel like Ecamm in and of itself is a really, really good reason to just get a Mac. So yes, definitely get towards winning your week 1 badge by just doing each of the tasks each day. And if you have any questions about what the task is, then ask us in the Facebook group, but you can actually find out all the things through the Challenge Hub slide. If you do not know what this Challenge Hub, let me mute that. If you do not know what this Challenge Hub slide is, then OMG, it's got your bingo card, it's got your trophy case for your badges. It is a piece of art. And I have to say that because Ash, my husband and other co-founder, actually created it. So everyone use it, okay? Use it. Make him proud. Okay, so this is where you can get it. It's also, we'll put the link I'll put the link actually now directly in the comments too. It's just at capsho.com/21. Oh, I hope this is content habit challenge. I'm actually I hope this is the right one. So go ahead and go to that link as well. Oh, great. Thanks, Paul or Katie. I think you're on. Or you can grab your phone and just scan this QR code. Okay. So this is going to give you all of the information that you need to make this challenge, to make your content creation and creating that habit a success. That is what we are here to do, to help you create that habit and get results. Okay. This challenge is all about that. So, let's just also have a bit of fun and win some prizes, because why not? And I want to thank our major sponsor, OBSPOT, because they have kindly donated some of their cameras, which is amazing. So if you go to OBSBOT, obsbot.com, you can actually check out some of their really cool gear. All right. So we have some of those to give away as well. So I cannot wait. Christopher, yes, you just recorded and you are looking forward to putting on a Capsho. Okay, well, you are in the right place. All right, I'm going to bring Bona back on so that we can actually get into the demo. Are you ready, Bona?
I'm excited.
All right, let's get you. We are going to get into it. So we're going to start from the very beginning. So I know some of our Capshovians are on here, like Laquita, and people who've been, you're probably pretty old hand. Is that the right saying? I don't mean old, like, you know what? Bona, save me from myself.
You actually got it right this time. You got the same.
Did I get it right? Okay, great. Okay, so, some people are old hand. I just felt weird about saying that. I don't mean you're old, but you know what I mean, like an old hand at using Capsho. But we want to, let's just level set everyone, and we'll start from the very, very beginning. All right, so Bona, take it away, please.
Awesome. All right. Hi, everyone. So basically at its very, very core, Capsho is here to help you repurpose the amazing video content that you're creating with tools like Ecamm. So much knowledge and stuff that you packed into creating these pieces of content. And we're here to serve you by just saying, let's take that and basically turn it into every piece of content marketing asset imaginable. So we get to do the fun stuff. So basically, for those of you who are logging in for the first time, you'll see an empty dashboard, and the main thing you'll be able to do is upload your new file. So you will need something to start with, but of course that's no problem because you're here in the challenge and creating content using Ecamm. So whatever you've done, record it on there. Basically get that file ready, and you want to click on that upload your file and basically go ahead and drop it into, or either drop it in or browse your folder for it. Now,
and sorry, just really quickly, Bona, I'm gonna allow you to take a breath because I just saw a question. How much editing should we be doing to the? Oh, sorry, I thought it was to the video. No, we're gonna get to that. Okay, so we're gonna come back to that question. I thought it was about the video, but I'm gonna answer my own question then, which is how much editing do you have to do to a video or audio file before you put into Capsho? Not very much at all. Is going to be the short answer. It will, and you'll see how we've designed this in a way that it actually hones in on the thing that you want it to actually be picking up through the content. It does not have to be edited, okay? But we will come back to the question of how much editing should we be doing to the Capsho created content when we get to that, because it's a fun one. It's a fun one to answer.
Yes, love it. All right, cool. So then the first thing you want to do is go ahead and, give it a nickname for your file. This is basically the name that it's going to be called throughout. Don't need to overthink this. You can always go ahead and rename that as well. What I'm actually adding is one of our Capshovians. Hi, Gloria, if you're watching. She actually did a really lovely testimonial for us about the 4-post social media strategy, which you guys will be covering. So it doesn't have to be anything that's a fully produced piece of content like Deirdre just said. This is actually a 3 to 4 minute video where Gloria just talks about her journey with Capsho. So we can absolutely repurpose that as well. So you just hit upload. Actually, before I move on, I'll just let you know, because you have some questions around this. You get this little pop-up to say this is how many minutes you have available and this is how many minutes we require. So as part of your Capsho membership, you get 300 minutes every month to upload into the platform. Every time you put a file through, we'll calculate how many minutes are in this file, and then it'll just deduct from your balance. You guys are lucky. As part of the challenge, you have a few extra minutes just because with the extended trial, but essentially this is what you'll see each time, so you can keep track of how many minutes you have left. So you basically go ahead and click on upload, and then this is where, to be honest, we're going to change a little bit of this copywriting based on feedback we've had. This is where you want to pick whether it's content that is for your own channels and your own stage, or it's content that you've maybe guested on someone else's platform. You've been a podcast guest. Maybe it's a presentation you did on a physical stage. So this is where you just want to give Capsho that nuance to say it's content on your own stage or content on someone else's. So go ahead and click on that. And we've also had questions around that. It's just so that Capsho, when it writes the marketing assets for you, writes it from the right perspective. So just little nuances, but it's helpful. Cool. Now, this is where we're going to spend a bit of time because I think, Deirdre, it'd be fair to say that personas have been the most not
Oh,
polarizing, but interesting.
oh yes. Let's just dig into before we get into the how to create personas. Let's just talk about the strategy or the thinking behind personas first, which about if we think about the content that we're creating, we are creating it for a reason and we're creating it for a particular audience. Now, when we created Capsho and it was really about how do we help you create content that gets you more leads and more clients. So what you'll see through what Bona's going to show you is we're going to ask you things like who your ideal audience is and what you actually do and how you help them. This stuff is actually really, really important because it helps to inform the AI about this is actually how I want to be writing and creating content. This is how I want to be talking to my audience. This is the type of stuff that I want to be marketing. So I don't want to downplay this part. You don't have to get it perfectly right. And we actually have a really cool tool that, again, Bona's going to show you to help you create this. But I just want you to know, this is kind of why there's a little bit of upfront work. But seriously, once you do it once, it's done. And then it is just so easy then from there then on to upload a file and just check your, tick your persona and get it going. So I just wanted to set that context. Bona, let's get into it.
Yeah, super important for that purpose, but hopefully kind of fun and really intuitive to set up as well. So for those of you who have not set up your persona just yet, you obviously won't have any saved personas. We already have one in here that we set up for Deirdre ahead of time, but you can go ahead, you'll have the option to create new persona. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I kind of stuffed up my persona setup for the first time, no worries, we can go ahead and set up a new one. So let's do that almost use case together. So there are two things like Deirdre highlighted already. There are two things that go into us setting up your persona, at least is how Capsho defines it. There's the details around who you are, who you serve, and what your audience are looking for. That's a really important part of this because we want to be very audience centric with what content we're creating for you. And then there's a tone of voice, which is always a bit of fun with AI. So you want to go ahead and give this persona a nickname. For those of you who set up one that you didn't quite love, you can go ahead and redo it. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to set it up just as Deirdre. So this is actually the one that's different to the other one because I've had those questions too because you end up setting up the same persona with the same name and you're like, which one is which? So just put in the first name there just to denote it. And then these are the four seemingly very simple but can be, paralyzing questions we've asked. Basically how you describe yourself, what you do, who your audience is and what they're looking for. Very simple, right? But sometimes we can get stuck on this, which is why our favorite man on the team, Ash, has created this really very, very super helpful persona generator. All you'll need to do is click through from that tooltip, for those of you who may have missed it because I went too fast. Just click there and then it'll take you to our persona builder on our website, where you can basically copy and paste, and I can't stress this enough, a very succinct version of your bio into this field right here, and then it's going to actually write out your persona. So for those of you who are, I don't really know what the answer to those questions may be, all you want to do is go ahead and copy and paste. So for someone like Deirdre, we could even go to her About Me section on LinkedIn, and we can do that. So for those of you who may not have a fully written out bio, that works really well. So just go ahead and just copy and paste that. Now there are a couple of grammatical things that you want to take note of. Whoops, page. Is that you want to remove any quotation marks that you may have in there. And if you have any dot points, bullets, for example. So I don't think Deirdre's got any here. I'm just going to go ahead and remove these emojis. But basically, you just want to make sure that from a structural perspective, because that won't work in the tool. So just clean those up for those little things. And then you just hit on write your Capsho persona, and it will go ahead and generate each of the parts of it. So basically, then you just copy and paste each of these items into these 4 sections here. So we're pretty well versed on Deirdre's one, so we'll just go ahead and write it. But basically, it's for those of you who are a little bit, not too sure how you might answer this. You want to make sure that you use that tool because it's super simple.
And I know there's a question about where do you find your persona, especially if you already have an account. We are working on that. So we know that and we're also working on the ability to edit personas as well. So it's top of mind for us. We have a lot of things that we're trying to build and get out to you guys, but that is one of the things for sure. So it's not there yet, unfortunately, but we're working on it.
Great. So yeah, you want to keep these, in terms of best practice, you want to keep these to, as it relates to qualifiers like descriptions, 2, maximum 3 things. So even if you might do 7 things, definitely pick the 2 to 3 things that best crystallize you. And also in terms of what they're looking for, ideally, if there's like one main outcome that your audience is looking for, that's always helpful. But again, 2, max 3 is where you want to live. Same thing with your audience. This is not the place to add all of your demographic information, like what ages they are and things like that. It's really just how they identify as themselves. For someone like Capsho, we could write entrepreneurs, or we could be a little bit more specific, like I have been here, around coaches, consultants, and service providers. So yeah, this is not, doesn't need to be every single person that could use your product, but really, and service, it's just really, you really want to hone in on who your most ideal people are. Cool. I'll keep going. Dee, you let me know if there's any questions, right? Because I don't want to.
Yes. There is one. So I believe Awesome Wood Things. I'm assuming Awesome Wood Things, your name is Matt. But he did say, I chose this is my own content. So I guess this is my stage. But notice Capsho used Matt said and Matt demonstrated. So I guess third person statements can Capsho generate first person, like I said and I demonstrated.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I don't know if I've seen that before. That's definitely something that we can, we'll make a note of for sure, Matt. And you, if you're in the group, which I assume you are, if you can share some examples, that would be great. But yeah, we can definitely look into that.
Yes,
really good
let's
point.
do that.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks. All right, cool. So now we're going to get to the fun part, hopefully, of creating your new persona. So this is around your tone of voice. So this is what we think is the second part of, what constitutes your persona, as how you like to, communicate, in this case, digitally and online. So you do have the option for those of you who want to take it, but we highly recommend you don't, which is generic. This is where you can just kind of, loosely guide Capsho to say, yeah, generally speaking, I have a conversational tone or whatever. This is going to give you very AI specific, content. So actually we had Bill on office hours this morning, and he was like, it almost sounded like it could be Laura Mipsum. And I said, well, Bill, you've got a very specific way of speaking, and AI is not really going to be able to capture it. So we absolutely recommend taking the time to train your own tone of voice, which is what we're going to walk through. We have taken your feedback on this being a little bit clunky, so I'm going to talk through kind of some existing things to watch out for as we work on improving this experience for you guys. So all this means in terms of training your own tone of voice for Capsho is you're just going to give us some examples, a minimum of 5 up to 10 of social media and email content works best that you really believe, either you've written yourself or you've edited to a point where you're like, yes, this is how I like to communicate. This is me on a page, if I had to, sort of crystallize it. So that gives Capsho a really good starting point. And I want to emphasize starting point because it won't be perfect. It's kind of like when you talk to a human or you're doing, you try to explain something, they're not going to get it straight away, right? In fact, AI probably does a better job of that. It just takes time to get to know someone. So think of Capsho as exactly the same way, but this just gives a really good starting point to say, hey, just so you know, this is how I like to communicate. So the content is not so important here. It's not going to interrogate the content and say, this is what Deirdre likes to talk about. It's more like, this is how she structures, this is her tonality, this is kind of like, long, short, how she likes to write. So the best way, actually, that we recommend doing this is opening up your social media, profiles, the ones that you're most active on, because that's probably where you're most comfortable and most yourself, and really just copy and paste recent pieces of content straight into Capsho. Before I do that, I just want to call out, there is a 3,000 character limit. Now, we've had feedback, and we're very feedback driven here, that's not entirely apparent to everyone, and some people thought it was 3,000 words, which it definitely is not. So just keep that in mind. We'll work on making this a little bit more obvious and intuitive for you. And also you want to make sure that currently what happens if you go past the character limit is that it actually locks the cell out. unfortunately. So just be mindful. So we're working on that to make sure that, you can actually edit that cell. If you do happen to go over the character limit, that bug fix will be coming very soon. But for now, just be mindful to just make sure that you copy over, shorter pieces of content that still have your tone of voice. So those are the two things to watch out for while we fix this process. And like I said, a minimum of 5 and up to 10 pieces is great. All you have to do is just click on this little thing here to keep adding new cells to add to your content. Anything you wanted to add there, Dee, while I do some copying and pasting?
No, I don't think so. If there are any questions about this particular part of, setting up your persona, please drop them in the chat. But yeah, just want to reiterate that we are working on fixing some things, and I would also say that for a lot of people, if you kind of skipped past or was able to get through, because we're also working on that, on putting in some validation rules so that you can't just like go past through the persona with incorrect by way of how Capsho says it's incorrect measures, then it'll still the assets generated will actually error out. So if you're finding that your assets are erroring or they're not generating, then it's probably because the persona part of it wasn't quite filled in correctly, which is totally on us. So just reach out to support@capsho.com if you found that that has been the case for you. Does this need to be done each time? No, it does not. So what we're just showing you here is setting up the persona. It does need to be done the very first time you use Capsho for sure, so you at least have one persona. But once Bona will show you that when the next time you upload, you can actually just choose the persona that you've set up automatically. So yeah, no, this is not something that you need to do each time.
Awesome. All right, great. So for the purposes of this, I've just gone ahead and picked 5. So you'll hit that save button and it'll do its little thing to save it. Oh, not sure what just happened there.
Okay, great. Live bug. Yeah, which we are going, we'll have to look into that. All right.
Okay, not sure what's happening there. Sorry, guys. So regardless, if that did work, what would happen is I would have had a new persona here that just says Deirdre, and that would be the new persona that I would go ahead and pick. So for those of you who are asking whether they have to do this each time, nope. Once you've set that up once, it will appear here, and then you'll just want to go ahead and click on that persona. And then, that's kind of the end of the persona flow. You'll just keep on going and adding it each time.
Yeah,
now,
awesome.
Okay, awesome. So then the final bits is you just want to add whether the, this had any guests. I'm going to go ahead and add our wonderful Gloria, and you can also exclude the intro of the file if needed. So just go ahead and hit save.
Which on that, Laquita was saying that she uploads her raw files and then she just uses that feature to exclude her intro. Which means then that Capsho, you'll still get it in your transcript, but it will, for purposes of creating your content marketing assets, it will actually exclude your intro if you would like it to. So that's a pretty handy tool.
Love that, Laquita. Love the Capshovian tips. The old hands are Capsho.
The old hands, yeah. All right. Where are we going to next, Bona? Should we get into the actual... Oh, we're going to wait for this to get so we can get started?
Yes, no, all good. I can definitely, hopefully not take very long. So just to set expectations around what you can expect here, this will just now, what Capsho is doing is it's obviously transcribing everything. It's taking in all of the good information, persona-wise and things like that. So it will just take a few minutes to do that. And as you can see, as just when you're talking, it'll kind of fall into this bucket of uploads processing. Now it's still processing because there's a couple more steps that we need you to take. So this has kind of also been another hot topic from everyone following Capsho. So you'll see here that there's the get started button, and so that it just needs a couple more pieces of information for you to generate your assets, which is the good stuff. So let's go ahead and click on that. Now there's 3 steps, and these are 3 wonderful steps because this is really where the quality of your content is going to, I want to say up level, but AI has ruined that word as well. So improve. Let's just say improve. That doesn't quite fit what Capsho can do.
Well, is this not going to be game changing, Bona?
Yeah. Now let's delve into these next 2 steps. Okay, cool. So step 1 is we're going to have to choose a topic for the upload. Now, this is kind of at the most highest level. This is where Capsho will give you, as you can see here, 5 topics that it can ascertain from the content. It's just read and is now committing to memory. Now you'll see here, you'll also see these. We've also had questions about these little numbers on the side. Anything that's there's a number, there's the question involved. These are SEO indicators. So this is a mix. This is a ranking out of 100. So the higher the better, ideally. And it takes into account things like, obviously, for your keywords, what competition, search volume. It just does a bit of an analysis to say, okay, so for each of these topics, like social media promotion for podcasts, what would be a guide for how well this would rank in terms of discoverability. We don't want you guys to fixate too much on these numbers and be like that be the main thing that drives it. But I think it's always just helpful to know, from a discoverability and organic search perspective, how your content is going. In this particular case, because of yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna add to that to be like, don't let this be the number one factor. It's just an input. Really, the number one factor is what is your audience who are following you going to care about? Like, how can you talk about something that actually helps them get a result, or really helps them, like get over some problem or pain that they're feeling. So that's really what you should be focusing on. But we thought we would include this as, from a discoverability perspective, as an indicator as well.
And ironically, we were having this conversation at office hours this morning. Ironically, the more, like Deirdre said, if you focus on the number one metric, which is relevance to your audience, the more relevant content you create, in the long term, your organic discoverability is going to increase because people are going to engage more with your content, and that's going to tell search engines that people actually really love this content, and that's actually how you grow and optimize your search engine. So it's kind of like that. So yeah, this is good as a little guide, and just keep it in mind, but really hone in on the topic that you want Capsho to focus on. So in this particular case, I'm going to go with the final one because I really like that topic: overcoming content creation challenges with Capsho. I like that.
Love that.
So we'll go. It's just a coincidence. Okay, cool. So now once you've done that step, the second 2 steps are now more specifically for your social media. So again, there's probably a little bit of things to understand here. Is the topic itself is for it drives kind of overall the content Capsho is creating. The premise in CTA is really with a specific purpose to help you create really, really potent pieces of content for social media. So the premise
I actually had someone who is a Capshovian, and he was actually interviewing me for his podcast, and he described it as like his take on the topic. Like the premise is his take, or like the nuance. Yeah. So which I actually really liked that description, because that's so think about it that way. Like the premise is your take on the topic. So there's a topic, high level topic. And then it's like, well, what's your perspective on that? That's what the premise is.
Exactly. The great thing is Capsho's actually passed your information in the upload, because you would have shared these. And this is a really great point where people are like, oh, I do think that. And it's like, yeah, because it's your content. It just gets reflected to us in this way. And we're like, oh, I'm kind of smart. But absolutely, I love that. It's your take, your perspective. And that's what social media is at the end of the day. It doesn't have to be a polarizing take or anything like that. It's just a very unique perspective on topics that, let's be honest, more than you talk about. So in this case, it's very specifically, because content creation challenges is still obviously a little bit higher level, but it really talks about, for example, Capsho's content leads to increased engagement and call to action conversions. These are Gloria's words, not ours, but this is a very unique, because based on what she's shared about her journey, we're like, oh yeah, that's the unique take from our perspective, because any AI tool can just create content for you, but it's really about the content that Capsho creates is to increase conversions, which is the end goal for our users with their content. So I like that premise, and I'm going to go with that one. But this is really where you want to spend a little bit of time, and you only pick the 1 out of the 5 premises. We've had questions to say, can I pick all 5 and get more content? The answer is no. And also, lovingly, is also to say, what is your aim with that? Because you really want to, and Doc talks about this all the time, you don't want to be one of those people that, because you didn't have time to write a short letter, you wrote a long one, right? Brevity is actually really well valued and gets cut through over like lots and lots of content that really talks about everything, if that makes sense. So challenge yourself to focus, back yourself and your premise and your perspective, and you'll find that you get a lot more cut through on social media. So cool, we'll go ahead with this premise and click next. And now this has been also a hot topic for everyone. So we'll spend a little bit more time on this because I think it's potentially caused not confusion, but lots of questions. So we'll make sure to address that. The overall framing for this is that you want to think about the overall main action that you would want people, especially on social media, to take based on this content that you've created. So we've had a few questions to say, oh, but I've got, all of these calls to action that I want people to take, as it relates to the video itself. Now, that's a little bit different. You could absolutely publish on your YouTube channel with, you could say, if you like, subscribe, things like that. You could say, go ahead and watch this video. That's kind of just like, I guess, or in your show notes, you've got information to say, hey, here's where you can go and buy my merch, things like that. Just standard CTAs that you may have from a publishing your main content perspective. That's totally cool, right? What we're talking about here is to say you've got this really incredible piece of content. In our case, we've got an incredible testimonial from one of our most valued community members. Having consumed this content in different ways, whether it's watching the video, whether it's reading a blog post about Gloria's experience, whatever it is, on social media, if Deirdre had to front up and make an ask of her audience for Capsho, what would that be? That's how you want to think about this. Now, this is you telling Capsho, this is you having a team meeting with Capsho and saying, my aim with this content is for my audience to do this, right? So that's how we want to think about it, because remember, you're repurposing this asset. It's not just a directly watch the video, take the action. This video could live on in different ways, right? So this is going to help Capsho craft an action post, which you guys will get to practice in the challenge, that specifically relates to the action ultimately that you want them to take. It may not be to watch the video. It may be, in this case, would be to trial Capsho for us. So that's like our ultimate CTA. It may be to book a call with you, whatever it is, whatever actions, like conversion actions you want people to take ultimately, that's what you want to put in here as well.
Yeah, and this is actually so powerful because think about it. You can, through this challenge, we want you to be publishing. So all the videos and things that you're recording with Ecamm, we want you to be going live with that. But you could also just talk into your phone, right? Just rant out your thoughts and put that into Capsho. And what Capsho will do is it will actually, through line, your content, your premise, your take, your perspective on a particular topic to where you actually eventually want them to go. Okay, so that could be like even a masterclass. It could be a webinar. It does not have to be to go and listen to your podcast episode. It does not have to be to go watch your YouTube video. It can be, and that makes a lot of sense, because we want to be using these other social media platforms to send them back to your what I call the anchor content, so the video or the podcast. But what the power of Capsho really is, because again, we're here to help get you leads, we're here to help get you more clients. And if there is something that you have on that will, I call it a conversion event, like a masterclass or webinar or even a challenge or something like that, use the content that you're creating to actually get people to that action, to that end goal for you, if that makes sense. So this is actually the power of Capsho, and you'll see that happening as well with this.
Love it. So so I've just put in, hey, if you want a free extended trial of Capsho, which might be the kind of CTA would have done for this challenge, and then we just get the context is important now. This is where it's another, I see this rather than for those of you who are like, oh, not another thing to fill out. The way we think about this is where you frame it for Capsho, what the value is for your audience to take this action, right? Because people are always trading. We're always trading our time, our attention for something, for value. So people shouldn't just give you their email address. People shouldn't just take the action. What are they getting out of it? And if you can't come up with that, it doesn't have to be overly eloquent, even in very basic terms, then you have to really think about why you're asking them to take that action. So for example, for us, we've realized AI tools are great, but really what people are looking for is creating content that actually helps them convert their audience from just people who are passively listening and consuming to people who want to actually become leads for you, right? So that's our promise. So this makes sure that you don't lose sight of the promise you're making to your audience. And it doesn't have to be serious. It could even be, if it's entertainment, I think someone we did this together in office hours, and one of their aims was to make sure that people get a laugh in their day. And I'm like, I love that, because that is really valuable. This episode is going to make them laugh and really remind them of, so just make sure that this is, and then Capsho will take that to say, oh, okay, that's what you're trying to do from the context of what your audience is going to get. So that's really, really helpful. So you just go ahead and apply changes, and then you're pretty much done by way of the hard work on your part. And now it's Capsho's turn to do the hard work on our part.
Yes.
So you'll see that it's now ready to edit.
I think there's a lag, so I'm like, okay. I was going to try to fill the silence, Bona, because you know how I feel about silences.
I do love silences. Actually, I make us in silence sometimes. But no, that was a genuine lag, I think. So sorry about the lag that's coming through, but it does make for very funny, awkward chemistry. I love it. And yeah, and I know you're trying to be my hype girl, which I really appreciate too. So, okay, cool. So you'll see that it's ready to edit, which means that your assets have either finished generating or are generating. So for those of you who've been in here, you'll be pretty familiar with this. This is what we call your asset dashboard. Just to remind you, because you'll be creating so much content inside of Capsho, you'll see the topic you selected, the guest and the persona, just as a bit of a refresher. And as the assets are ready, you'll see that they're green, so that they're ready for you to click in there and take a look. So there's quite a lot that Capsho creates for you, obviously. We're going to focus, Deirdre, on social media and the awareness post for this training.
Yes, let's do that. So I just want to set context for people who might have missed Friday's live. I hosted Katie Brinkley. Maybe, Paul, if you wouldn't mind linking people back to that live as well, because I had Katie on. Katie Brinkley is an amazing social media strategist. She's my go-to for all things social media. But she actually created a framework that she calls the 4-post social media strategy, because, we all are busy. We're all entrepreneurs. We're all creators. We have a lot on our plate. And social media shouldn't be one of those things that we really, really because I know I used to really dread having to open up a social media app, and that is not the purpose. Okay, so her whole strategy is all about how do we post less and grow more. And so, so let me change scenes. And so when I hosted Katie, I hosted Katie on a Friday YouTube live on both of Ecamm and Capsho's channel, because it was part of this 21-day content habit challenge. And she talks about 4 posts. So the first post being the awareness post. And the awareness post is all about let's like almost throw the net out on social media and catch the fish, if you're following along with this analogy, right? And so really that awareness post is meant to be all about getting people to engage with us. And I know, I shouted out Katie at the beginning of this live because she's already getting such amazing engagement. And I want to see all of you getting that kind of engagement, right? Now, if you are not getting engagement, there's probably a few factors. I know someone posted it on her business page. I've already kind of highlighted to her that I think we all maybe know that business pages, especially on Facebook, don't get the best organic reach. So that could be a reason why. But because I love reverse engineering, and it's always going to be either because you don't have your audience currently either following you or seeing your post, or the message that you're actually putting out there is not the right message that they care about. All right. So it's usually always either the audience or the message. And this is a great test, because if you're not getting engagement on the message, let's say you do have the right people following you, but they're not engaging on your awareness post, then you probably want to be looking at the content that you're creating, right? And go back to, okay, well, what are their problems? What are the symptoms that they're feeling? What are their pain points? And really start to, and you could even ask them, right? If they're following you, you're probably friends with them, ask them, hey, what are you currently struggling with right now? Because I want to create content that can help more people like you, right? So I really want you to go back to who are the people following you, and what message are you actually putting out there. So that's the awareness post. So I do want Bona to spend a little bit of time to show you as well, depending on the platform that you're using, how to actually post the awareness post. Then, and someone was like asked, I think it might have been Katie as well, asked, does the awareness post, because it is a polarizing statement if you're using the Facebook one, should we just be playing along with that, or should we actually say, hey, we're actually an expert in this and this is kind of my opinion? And I was like, no, play along, because the second post, which is your tip post, will actually then go into what your opinion is and your expertise. Okay, that's actually where you give value. So don't be afraid. I know that some people might look at the polarizing statement and be like, I don't know I don't quite agree with this. And that's okay. You don't have to. Remember, the way to get engagement, the way to actually get people to, care about what it is that you're saying, is to actually put something out that could be a little bit polarizing. It does not have to be your opinion, all right? Because the second post is going to be all about going into your opinion. The third post is then what we call the community post. Now, when you go into community post, unfortunately, Capsho does not draft this for you. I just want to set that expectation, but it does give you ideas, 3 different ideas that you can then actually draft your community post from. And the reason why Capsho cannot create this for you is because a community post is all about your story, your experiences. This is really the opportunity for you to create a deep personal connection with your audience. Okay, so this is and Katie even used this example on her live, but she was saying, when she was talking, she was actually doing the 4-post social media strategy for an interview that she had with me. So we're talking about AI, and so her community post was about how she was not a believer in AI, but now she can't live without it because it saved her so much time that she can coach her daughter's softball team, for example. Like, she's now actually letting her community into her personal life and her experiences. Yeah. So that is the purpose of the third post, which is the community post. And then the fourth post is the action post, which is where the goodness of, all the things that we've created up until this point we're now actually asking our audience to take action, which is going to be the action that you put in the call to action little pop-up that Bona just went through before. So that is the 4 posts. Now for today, because today's task is for you to do the awareness post. So I want Bona to show you how easy this is to do using Capsho. So Bona, do you want to go ahead and show us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oops, let me.
The lag's not too bad.
But
Awesome. All right. So like I said, we're still following the same file along. This is the testimonial from Gloria. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and show you the Facebook awareness post, and I'll show you end states of all the platforms so you kind of have a bit of a view, but as it relates to Capsho. So we very conveniently laid it out for you by platform and which sequence the post needs to go into. So you'll just want to go to the one that is the awareness post. So as you can see here, we actually give you 5 examples. Now, I was answering this question more times than I thought I would. Please don't post all 5, copy and paste them in. These are designed as options. So really, you'll see that each of them has a very specific, potentially polarizing either question or statement. And that's what works well on Facebook. So you'll want to go ahead and take a read of these. They'll all take different angles, as you can see. And some of them I'm like, oh, do I agree with that? Right. So you want to go ahead firstly and pick the one that you think best serves the perspective that you want to share and start a conversation around. Once you have decided on that, you want to then go ahead and edit the actual piece based on language that you actually would use. So over time, Capsho will get to learn your how you like to write and things like that. But like we say, edit your content. It is AI. And let us know by clicking on Mark as complete when you're happy with what you just edited. So for example, in this one, sorry, Dee, were you?
Yeah, I just want to, because this is to answer the question from previously about, do we have to edit the content that Capsho creates? And the really, really cool thing about Capsho, it is a completely self-learning platform. Okay, it's a self-learning platform. What that means is that as you make edits inside of our editor and all of that, if you wouldn't mind just clicking in and just like showcasing, like it works kind of like a Word document. You just type in there, you can delete things, etc. Right? So it's a complete editor in there. When you go Mark is complete, you're then telling Capsho that, okay, this is now something that I want you to learn from. All right, so that's the cool thing about Capsho. That is what sets us apart. So I want you to please, you guys, as you are using Capsho, do your edits inside of it, mark as complete, because you will notice that Capsho is going to get smart. It's going to write more like you. It's going to structure content more like you. It's amazing. So I just really wanted to hone in on that too.
Yes, could not stress that more and endure. Had a few questions about, is Capsho just intended as a copy and paste? Look, we can't police anything, but we highly recommend editing your content, even if it's created by an awesome tool like Capsho, because platforms are clamping down on AI generated content. But this will actually just make it easier for you, because it'll reflect your greatness back to you, and it'll just require some tweaks from you that make it sound more like you, and over time you'll learn more and more. But it's actually a really great way for you to be intentional with your content as well. So with Facebook, like I said, I really like this one. I don't know about how I'm taking votes from you, Dee, but I really like, because some people do, like what we were just talking about, relying on AI-generated content ideas is a lazy approach to content creation. So this could be a really interesting topic for Capsho to talk about, because we are in the space of AI, and we're in the space of AI with content creators. There's definitely different schools of thoughts on this. Again, I want to stress, like Deirdre said, this is not about saying this is my exact perspective. Everything has nuance, which is the point of the whole thing, right? Is to actually start a conversation versus it just being a yes and no and people just move on. A very obvious question, if that makes sense. You want to generate conversation, and then that's where the algorithm will reward you, but you'll also be able to identify people in your audience and their pain points, or their, maybe even their self-limiting beliefs, whatever it is as it relates to this. So it's very simple. I actually want to highlight, we've talked about Katie Simpson a lot today, and for good reason, because she's really been taking action. I really liked the one that she used out of Capsho. So Katie is in the clean beauty space, and she just posted a very simple one. The best thing about this is to keep it simple. Actually, Facebook does a really good job of limiting the number of words you can put on here to use a colored background. This works really well. Colored background, it's a scroll stopper, and it will stop people. I think when she told us, she had like 15 comments, and now she's already up to 40, as you can see here. And it's, people have different opinions on it. Some people wear makeup a lot, some people don't. And she's just hopping in there again, just, endorsing them, just kind of keeping them, keeping the conversation going, asking follow-up questions. That is a really, really great way to keep the conversation going. And then sets her up really well for tomorrow's post as well. So as you can see here, these are great conversations. This is not just people popping in, dropping an emoji and leaving. They're actually thinking about it. Again, someone's disagreeing. Some people are saying, I actually don't even wear makeup, and some people are wearing it every day. Amazing. She's getting real range of people, but everyone is kind of, one thing they have in common is that this topic is important to them. So don't overthink this one. This is actually this is Ash's favorite post, I think, out of the 4 posts, because it almost, it's easy to do. It's just based on content you've already created. And again, it gives you a really, really great starting point for the week, and for the content as well. So this is what you might do on Facebook. Yep, Dee?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that in the 3rd week of this challenge, we're actually going to be doing another live expert workshop with Jenna Larson from Group Track CRM, and she's going to be talking about how you can actually start to convert this engagement into leads through DMs in the conversation. So that's going to be happening, I think, Thursday in week 3 in this challenge. So yeah, look forward to that, because again, we are so invested in you getting leads. You guys, all of this engagement that you're going to get on this post, they are all potential leads for you. So we're going to be, I just wanted to drop that in so you have something to look forward to in week 3 of this challenge as well.
Exactly. And then you don't have to feel weird about sending DMs, because these are people who you just carry on the conversation in a more private form. So it's such a great strategy. Great. So I'm just going to pop into LinkedIn now just to show you slightly different. Obviously, we don't want to, we're not about sort of just blanket approaches here at Capsho. So you'll see here that for LinkedIn, it's going to work slightly differently, because there's a really, really great native feature that LinkedIn has, which is LinkedIn polls. I love LinkedIn polls. They are so easy to set up, and they get such great engagement, and they tell you a lot, basically. So these are 3 things, like low effort, high, return, amazing. So basically, when you go into the LinkedIn awareness post for Capsho, you'll see that it actually gives you 3 questions that you can put in as polls. So, this are more open, and they're more close-ended by way of people like can vote on which one, and then they can also, we always recommend adding an other as well so people can comment. But you will find if people are passionate about the topic, they'll also leave a comment, which you can encourage them to do as well. But as a minimum, so something like this, for example, this is one that we've done on Deirdre's channel. Again, obviously we're here to help people market on certain channels. So which one is most important for you? You can see, people voting, and then you can have the poll up, for 3 days, for a week. It's really up to you. You can see, how the votes went, who voted. And again, these, like, exactly, you'll see a lot of the time, it's not even people who are direct connections, because this gets surfaced out to people beyond just your existing follower list as well. And then you'll see here that, you can see each of the people. So if you're connected already, that's a really great way to continue the conversations. And if you're not connected, you can see what the, commonalities are. And then you can, again, use Jenna's strategy, or, kind of more of a lead nurturing strategy, but it's going to be more targeted, because you're not just kind of spraying and praying, hopefully. And then you can, LinkedIn also gives you some more analytics to go with that post. But again, super simple to do. It's, Capsho already gives you a starting point, with what question to ask. Again, the simpler you make this, the easier it is, because again, people are just scrolling on their feed, they see a question, it's super easy for them to interact, just a one click. And then again, you get the data, and you also get the reach the more people interact with it. Another little hack is you can also, because LinkedIn polls look quite good, you can also send your email list to say, hey, I started a conversation on LinkedIn. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know your thoughts. People love giving their thoughts, is what I've realized. What do you think about this? We have so many people head over and give us their thoughts. So again, if you have an audience like that, that's a great way to get some more eyeballs on your content.
Yes, I love that. Okay, I'm just mindful of time. Do we want to quickly share an example of an Instagram poll, Bona, or do we want to just go straight into video clipping?
I might share. I just realized on Instagram, desktop don't show polls, so I might share a separate dedicated. Why don't I do that? Dedicated, not training so much, but post on it so you can see how it looks. Okay. The only other thing I'll mention is, for when you're in each of the social media posts, you'll see this little eyes at the bottom here. For those of you who haven't seen, you can click through to a landing page that has pretty much everything you need to know about the 4-post social media strategy, training, implementation, examples, all of the good stuff.
Awesome. Okay, let's get into video clipping, because we've had a few questions on this one. This is a hot topic. We have hidden, it feels like we've hidden it a little bit, but it was literally, so this is a feature that we dropped last week, literally. So you'll see it's got beta. It's a little bit on the slower side, so we're still working on optimizing the speed, etc. But I think it's pretty cool. So yeah. Okay.
But we're looking for more feedback. So definitely hopefully it's easy. It is hidden, like we said, but the create new asset button here is your best friend. Just click on that. It will show you the other assets that haven't been generated. But most importantly, the asset of the hour is the video clip. Beta, very much beta. So you can just go ahead and click that. It will take a little bit of time to load this. So I've gone ahead and prepared one earlier. Once that's finished loading, this is what you will see. So this is our wonderful Gloria. Now, what Capsho will do, I intentionally put a pretty short video through just so you can see. But basically what you'll see is that there'll be a transcript on the left that kind of basically just transcribes. So it's a great way to orient. And you'll have the highlights that Capsho has selected for you based on the content that you've uploaded. Now, this is where we've spent all of our time really on this, is building that intelligence to give you the juiciest and best clips from your piece of content, especially if you're doing things like live streams. Sometimes there's some components that are like great live, but it's not necessarily something you might want to repurpose. And there's some really potent bits that you might have forgotten about. So this is where we spent most of our energy, and we're really proud of the clip identification. So you'll see here, Capsho has done a really simple job of just going, hey, here are some are a little bit longer, some a little bit shorter, just clips that we think are, super great, basically. You can go ahead and play.
So it doesn't play the sound, but it's fine. Yeah.
It will pretend there's sound. So there's Gloria's soothing voice coming through. but it'll show you exactly where you're playing. You can absolutely also turn this into portrait mode, because this is another question we've had about how you can actually, create something specifically for, short form video platforms like YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. But you can absolutely do square and landscape as well. And then basically you can go ahead and now, actually this is very short, so I guess it's picked most of the highlights, but you can absolutely also go and create your own highlights. So for example, you can, if you don't like this one, you can remove it. So you can see here it's gone back to 6, and we might only just like this one. And you can add that to highlights, and that is where you're going to create your own little clip, because that's what you want to. So we give you full flexibility to be able to do that. And you can also add your captions, or subtitles, sorry, you can disable them or you can add them, and you can also put a little bit of styling, and nothing crazy, but a little bit of styling as to what style you like as well. And because we're all about completeness, you can download the video clips, and it's actually going to go ahead and download that for you inside of the editor. And then we'll also write a social media caption for you, so that some options for you, so that you can actually publish it, because obviously clips are only good if you can actually get them out into the universe, and actually have people, interacting with them. So that's super quick version of clipping.
Yes. And I'm actually going to be hosting Luis Camero from the Biz Bros on Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern, I believe, or 1 p.m. Eastern. And he is an absolute micro content short form video whiz. He and his brother test all the time. And so he's actually going to go through his strategy of how to actually identify the best clips, and a bit of the workflow that he uses for creating and publishing short form videos. So that's on Thursday's expert workshop. So look out for that in I think, Paul, what did you call it? It's like the playlist for this challenge.
Awesome. All right. So the video clip is just still generating. So it'll just take a little bit of time, but basically what you'll see is you can go in there and click into it just like the regular editor. You'll see the actual video, which you can download, and you'll see the option to generate written captions to help you publish the post as well. And like with everything inside the editor, please edit the caption and mark as complete, so that Capsho can keep learning from how you like to write your captions.
Awesome. Okay, so while that's generating, we've got a couple of questions. LinkedIn polls, is that with free LinkedIn, or does one need to have a premium account for any of the comments, etc. generated?
No, it's available. You don't need a premium account for that. It's just, and I can do a more detailed tutorial on this. It's just one of the types of content. So when you go ahead to create a post, you'll have the option to choose it as a poll. But I can take some detailed training for that if you would like.
Yeah, awesome. And the other question is it for vertical video only? I'm assuming with the video clipping. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So you have 3 options. You can obviously it will start off with the landscape frame, which so helpfully says here YouTube or Vimeo. You can also do portrait, which is very popular, and square for, I guess, this is a less popular one, but you can do those 3 perspectives.
Yeah. Okay, Johnny, let us know if that actually answered your question. Did the video generate? Bona, has it generated yet, so we can show people?
Yes, I think there's a lag. Hopefully you guys are seeing my screen. It has generated, so. Okay,
there is a bit of a lag actually.
It's like a minute. It's anticipation building is what it is.
Okay, all right. Well, now I can see, now I can see the dashboard. Okay, good. You've gone into, great. Okay, here's the video.
Yeah. Video that we just clipped, and then you'll go ahead and generate your caption. These are optimized for YouTube Shorts at the moment. But we will have TikTok captions and Instagram Reels coming very soon. And like with everything, you will want to definitely edit these and mark them as complete to be more reflective of your tone of voice.
And can you just quickly show people how to download their video as well so they can post it?
Very good point. Yes, very good point. So again, it's a little bit hidden, but you'll see these 3 little dots over here. Just click on that, and you just want to click on download, and it will just go ahead and download into your downloads folder. So you can just go ahead and grab it there.
Awesome. Can you select multiple clips that it breaks the short form video into, and it will put them together into one short form video? Oh, yes, it can. So, if we go back to the highlight section, if you tick more than one anything. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't yet. Okay, sorry. This is something that's coming.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm thinking about things that we're already thinking about. Okay, so no, sorry, it does not do that right now. You can only, basically, you will only be able to download each chunk as a separate short form video. Awesome. Okay, cool. I'm loving these questions. All right, you guys. So we are at time. I cannot wait for you all to get in and do this thing with us. Today's task is all about the awareness post. Now, with the short form videos, I think you guys know generally we always recommend 2 to 4 a week if you want to sort of, especially it's such a great discoverability tool. Is a reason why as well we've kind of at this stage limited the editing capabilities inside of Capsho. Well, one, because it's pretty, it's not the easiest thing to build and get out there, but really two, because we believe so much in testing your messaging. This is something that Luis is going to be talking about more on Thursday. So definitely come and join us on the Thursday's expert workshop to get his take on the workflow and the why and just how to think about how to approach short form videos. Tomorrow's expert workshop is actually, we're going to have Adam Sheebley on, who is going to be talking about how to get discovered with your podcast. All right. So this is going to be all about optimizing your podcast title, your cover, like all the things that go into getting your podcast discovered. He's actually going to be going through in tomorrow's workshop. So look out for that. That's all of the events are in the Facebook group. They're in the playlist on either the Capsho or Ecamm YouTube channels. So they're all there for you. They're also on your challenge hub, which is at capsho.com/21-day-content-challenge. But that link as well is in the comments and in the Facebook group. And I feel like it's kind of everywhere. But if you do get lost, just ask us. We are here to help support you. Okay. All right, you guys. Are all of the workshops at the same time? No, they are not. So please, please, please look at the events calendar, look at the schedule in the Challenge Hub, mark it in your calendars. They are not at the same time. So thanks for that question. Okay, cool. That's it from us. Thank you so much for joining us on today's live. And let's go ahead. Let's keep doing this challenge. Let's keep earning those badges. Let's play bingo. Let's have a ton of fun. We're going to see you in the Facebook group and on tomorrow's live as well. We'll see you there.